Kelly Nataris, who's here, and I'm going to have her come up right in 1 second and talk to you about editing, because she's an incredible editor. She used to work at 3 of the big 6 publishers. I'll let her tell you her little resume. And then she worked at Sounds True. I don't know if you guys have heard of them. So, and then she's done several books for Hay House, some really successful books, and she's currently working with one of our really big authors, Chris Carr, and she helped Maston Kipp from The Daily Love, and his book's coming out with Hay House. So I'm not just saying she's great, she really is great. I begged her to come work at Hay House, she wouldn't do it. But all of you have the ability. She has a company that helps align people that are like either even with publishers, without publishers, self-publishing, edit books, book proposals, those kind of things, and it's called knliterary.com. And she's worked with tons of people. So why don't you come up and tell them a little bit about editing before I screw it all up here.
Hi, everyone. It's so nice to see you guys. Everybody here, excited and writing. Reed has been very, very kind to have me at the last few of these writers' workshops, and so I've talked to so many amazing writers like all of you guys, some people who are just starting to write, some people who have been writing for years and years, and it's just really a privilege to help you guys take your ideas and bring them out into the world in a way that they're going to be able to help a lot of other people. So as Reed said, I started off my career, I've been in books since I was 23. I started off at Avon Books. I don't know if any of you are romance readers, but I started off with romance, and then we got bought by HarperCollins, so I moved over there. And then I moved to Penguin Books, and then Hyperion Books, which is now part of the Hachette Book Group. And then I got sort of plucked up out of New York and brought out to Boulder, Colorado to work at Sounds True. And so that was where my career as, I guess you would say, a spirituality, self-help, personal growth sort of editor began. And I was there for 4 years, and I ran the whole editorial division there. And while I was there, I really got an education in what works in this genre. And so that's one of the things that I love about the work that I get to do with you guys, is that not only do I get to show you, sort of guide you toward editorial help that's going to help the book get better, but I can also offer you a lot of expertise in terms of marketing and whether your particular idea is saleable, how you might shift it so that it could be more saleable. Reed's saying, there's a difference between a self-published book and a book that's published by a major company. And in a lot of cases, you can see it. You can see it in the cover of the book, and then when you open the book and you start to read it, you can read it on the page. And so my goal is to make sure that everything that comes out of our business is in its absolute best possible shape it can be in. And I can't promise you that your self-published book or your book proposal is going to be something that will be indistinguishable from something that's published by Hay House, for example, because I'm working with what you guys are offering. So, you have a certain talent, you have certain ideas, et cetera, and we're not going to try to change any of that. But we're going to give you all of the expertise we have to make it as good as it possibly can be. Whoever you're choosing, that should be their goal, is to take what you've got on the page and make it the best that it can possibly be. So you'd asked me to maybe talk a little bit about the different levels of editing. So a lot of people say, well, what does it even mean to get your book edited? And the truth is there are a variety of different ways that you can look at that. We've organized it to try to be a little bit concise. So there's 3 different levels of editing that we offer. The top level is what I call developmental editing. So that's where I take whatever it is that you have delivered. So it might be a book proposal, it might be a full manuscript, and we read it and give you feedback on the global issues that are working or not working. We'll tell you a bunch of things that are working. We're going to focus probably more on what's not working, because that's what you want to improve. So we're talking about things like, does the manuscript hang together as a manuscript? As I'm reading through it, does it feel consistent? Am I pulled through and drawn because it's so interesting to read? So is the pacing good? Are the pages just turning effortlessly? We'll talk to you on a paragraph by paragraph level, like this paragraph that starts this chapter. It opens all these questions that never get answered by the end of the chapter, and they need to. So we're really going to give you a very deep edit, but it's on the global issues, not on the words themselves. The next level is a line edit. And a line edit is where we're going to actually be there in the weeds with the words on the page. And we're looking primarily for grammar, clarity, and flow. So I want to make sure that your grammar is correct because, again, that's one of the basic things that a self-published book, is sometimes falls prey to, is that the grammar just isn't there. But I also want to make sure that the ideas are clearly projected, that I am actually understanding and able to comprehend and then bring into my life whatever, skills or insights you're offering. And the same goes for fiction as well, that I'm actually clear about what's happening in the book, who the characters are and things like that. And then flow is, do I get stopped by any of the sentences as I'm reading? That's something that's very difficult, I think, as writers. We fall in love with our sentences. We fall in love with our words. And so my job is to sort of, as they say, kill your children. Sorry, that's what we say. And just basically say, that's a very precious sentence, but it's not working and you need to fix it, right? So that's the second level of editing. And then the third is sort of really more the down and dirty basics. So that would be something that you might hear called proofreading and or copy editing. So both of those are the last stages of what happens to the book before it goes to the printer if you're published by a traditional publisher. You'll have an editor that'll work with you on developmental editing, line editing, and then it'll leave that editor's hands and go to a whole different set of editors who are working really on the nitty-gritty, the spelling, are there any typos, formatting issues, things like that. So we offer all of those different services, and we offer a few more that I'm just going to tell you about a little bit, because a lot of times what I get is a phone call after this workshop with somebody who knows they have an amazing proposal. It just hasn't gotten down to the page yet, and they really want to submit to this contest, right, because it's a big opportunity, and yet they're not 100% sure what their book is. They know that they've been, sometimes it's a therapist who's been using a particular set of practices with their clients for years and years, but they don't know what to call it. And they don't know quite how to talk about it. And they've heard from all their clients they want a book, but they don't know how to do it, And so we'll help you with the foundational concept of your book, which I call the book's hook. It's an industry term. So the book's hook, other people might call it an elevator pitch. How are you talking about your book in 1 to 2 sentences that you're getting across to the person who's listening what they're going to get out of the book, the benefits, and why they need the book, right? So we'll start with that, and then we're going to help you build an outline from there. Basically, what you want to do is you want to make sure you have a really, really good outline for your book before you write it. That is key, and that's something that we help with as well. Many of the people I talk to after this event, they're brand new at writing. They know they have to get this book down. They know they have an urge. They've always wanted to write something. And what you get when you work with an editor is you get not just the expertise around the writing itself, but you get a collaboration. You get somebody who's there in partnership with you along the way. So you're not writing in isolation anymore. You're not like, am I doing this right? Is that actually the right next step for this book? I don't even know. I don't even know who to ask, right? An editor becomes your best friend and your partner along the way. So as you're choosing editors, I'm going to answer one more question that I get all the time. How much does it cost? Right. Well, it's actually like a totally unregulated industry, and with that, you have people that are way at one end of the spectrum of super, super expensive, and people at the other end of the spectrum who are charging like $15 an hour, okay? I'll say on the whole, you're likely to get what you pay for. Somebody who edits books for a living is not charging $15 an hour, okay? So I would suggest you guys look for people who are editing books for a living. And I just say that, editing books for money. That's a good sign that they actually know what they're doing. So be sure to look for references, resume, things like that. I have an amazing staff, independent contractors who I'm just thrilled want to work with people like you guys. All of them have interest in spirituality, self-help, Or if you're writing fiction, I've got fiction specialists, I've got business book specialists. So I just have deep experience from all of the time I've spent in this business. I know a lot of editors who are currently out of work in the big houses, because the business is changing so much that a lot of editors at big houses are getting downsized. So they end up doing freelance work, and luckily for me, they do freelance work for me. So if you come to my company, you'll get to have a phone call with the editor I sort of pick for you, and decide before you ever sign anything or pay a dime, like, oh yeah, this person is my collaborator. I can feel it, like this is my partner. Or they're not. Can you hook me up with somebody else and like let me try again? So I would say that that's, you're kind of, again, with me, you're going to get people who have experience. They edit books for money and for a living. And that would be the thing that I would suggest, no matter who you go to or what level of the spectrum you're looking at. You want to make sure that you're having people working for you that you're hiring that are actually very quality people.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.